Hello, I'm going to show you how to install a new SSD into this beautiful ThinkPad. It is the E480 is the model number. Currently it has only a, as you can see, about 237 gig available. Samsung SSD drive in there, as you can see. So we're going to replace that SSD with a 512 gigabyte, and I'm not sure what kind of SSD this is. You can always Google and it will tell you. So if you Google that model number, let's have a look. Doing image search, it is a M2 PCIe SSD. I believe it is NVMe. Yeah, most likely. So that's good news. So we've got here a 512 gigabyte Intel SSD, and it is the M2, and they're super quick. So what we're going to do, we're going to first boot the computer. And we're going to use Macrium. Macrium is freely available. You can download for free on their website and make a bootable USB. I'm going to show you how you can reboot this computer and start from the USB, and we'll get the cloning ready. So what we're going to do first is when you go into Windows, when you want to get into the BIOS to boot from a USB, I want to boot from the USB, so I need to go into BIOS and make some changes so I can boot into the USB. So what we do is, on the keyboard, I'm holding the Shift key while I'm going to shut down and restart. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. So click on Restart while holding the Shift, and that will take you into recovery options from Windows 10. So we'll put the USB in for now. Now the cloning can take some time, so plug in your power adapter as well. So there we go, connect my power adapter. This one uses the Type-C, which is good, which usually indicates it's a newer model laptop, and it will take the newer NVMe type SSDs. While that's rebooting, let's have a look. This beautiful SSD. Now the client is happy to go with this 512 gig. I could also use a cloning software like Acronis and download it for Windows. Here we go. This is a new SSD, 512 gig SSD. Cool. And we're gonna put this into an enclosure so where we can copy from. And I'll show you the enclosure that I will use. This is another product. I hope this is the right one. So here we go. NVMe, this is the one. Sorry, mate. Okay, so basically this can connect with Type-C or USB 3. Although this computer has Type-C, and I think it's for power only, I'm not 100% sure. It looks like it is for power. I'm still going to use the USB adapter. So what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew these. Okay, so here is our little guy. That looks better. Okay, So now we're going to use this Type-C cable to one end, and this is a Type-C to USB male. Here we go, connect just like that. And now, of course, you screw it in, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to sticky tape this for now because it's only temporary use. Yep, just like that. Just like this. Just want to keep it secure. Okay, we're pretty much ready for the cloning process, but the computer is not playing up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to force a reboot. This is not something you should have to do. You should go into recovery mode automatically. And enjoy a nice cup of coffee. Okay, we're going into Windows again. So just for privacy, I am covering the screen as this laptop is not mine, it belongs to a customer. So I'm going to do the same process again. Hold the shift key and restart again. Hopefully it restarts properly. Oh, that's better. Okay, so this is it. So we're going to boot off the USB. So we're going to go into Troubleshoot, Advanced Options, and UEFI Firmware Settings. Okay, restart. And the Macrium USB is plugged in. Like I said, you can download Macrium on a PC and make a bootable USB. So this is it here. Now let's have a look. Start up, and this is the sequence. Boot mode quick. Oh yeah, so this one has the F12 options enabled, and that should be fine, I think. Oh, here we go. We can change the boot order. Now, normally I will make this USB, which is where the Macrium is, push it all the way up. I think it's F6 takes it all the way up, as you can see. But I'm not going to. I'm going to I'm going to reboot and use the F12 key on the keyboard. So F12. So I'm going to restart the computer. So let's come out of this. Exit, discarding changes. Now keep pressing F12, F12 few times. And now I'm not sure if this one is function only or just keep pressing F12. Okay, there we go. I've got a boot menu. That's fantastic. Now this USB I've got supports UEFI boot. When you make the USB bootable USB, it actually gives you the option, and you want that because newer laptops use that. Otherwise you have to enable the CSN boot in the BIOS. So we press F12 and we got our boot menu. So we're going to boot off the USB, and we'll see a similar to Windows 10 style boot process. Okay, now we can now plug in our new SSD to the USB port. Nice, you can see something happening, and you can see the, have a look, USB is all nicely plugged in and blue light on. Okay, I'll show you how you can do this part here. This is my first time really recording live. Hopefully, you can see the mistakes and see it happening in real-time action. Okay, so here we go. That's our old drive. So what we say is clone this disk and select the disk, this one here, and it found our new SSD. And I'm going to copy selected partitions. Notice it hasn't taken up the full space. So what I'm going to do is remove this one. Sorry, I'm going to undo. So I'm going to drag each one, Now when I drag this one, I still got this much free. So I'm going to expand this one to all the way up here. So this fourth partition takes about 1 GB space. So I'm going to allow 1 GB free. So extend this all the way, and you can see how much free space. So I'm just going to put maybe 1.1 gig just to allow a little bit more room, just in case. 127 free, that's okay. Done. Okay, and we press next. Now this one seems to have a BitLocker encryption. So I'll advise the customer to make a note of their BitLocker key, because just in case, because they're not using a cloud Microsoft account on this computer, they're using a local account. What that means is the BitLocker recovery key doesn't get saved into Microsoft's online account. So if the hard drive crashes and they want to do data recovery, they will need the BitLocker key. And if it's a local account on the computer, they'll need that key. They can't recover it from Microsoft online website. But if it was a Microsoft account, logged into a Microsoft account, the recovery key actually gets stored onto Microsoft servers, and you can access that from My Account section. So let's go next. Okay, that's fine. And yep, go ahead, finish. Now this will be very quick. Well, it depends on the USB 3 speed. There is about 190 gigabyte of data, I think. Oh, here we go, 181 gigs. Here we go. This is the main C drive cloning process. I'll let this run and I'll come back to it later. I'll let the recording continue. As you can see, the cloning has been finished. It took about 50 minutes. Now we're going to install the new SSD into the computer. So let's close this application, and we want to turn off the computer fully. So power off. Now you'll get a chance to look inside of the ThinkPad E480. So we're going to disassemble it. Alright. Now this one uses Philips. That's great. Nothing proprietary. Get a little tray to put everything in. Alright, here we go. So this model, I don't think the screws come out. Just double check. Here we go, magnet. No, okay, that's great. Nothing to lose. And I love working with ThinkPads. In my opinion, they're really well designed. Lenovo's IdeaPad are really crap, piece of junk. But the ThinkPad family is number one. Alright. Now I'm not sure if I needed to take more screws out, but we'll find out. Okay, just with my fingers. Without doing more damage, I'll use this prying tool. Gently. Sometimes the keyboard needs to come out first. I am not sure in this case. Haven't looked at the service manual, but we'll find out. By the looks of it, the bottom panel does come out. Okay, that's great. That will make it easy to work with. So just like that. just double check all the screws are loose. There we go. Just make sure they are loose properly. Now I'm not sure if there's a screw under that panel there. By the feeling of it, I think there is. So I'm still gonna just gently pry that off. Have a look. It will make sense to put a screw there. Give it a bit of a durability. Yes, there is one, okay. Looks like, no, there is no screw. Okay, we'll put that back in there. Right, okay, switch that a little bit too much. Okay, maybe something here. We never want to force anything, so just be ever so gentle. Okay. Okay, there we go. So these clips must come off. There we go. That's better. Nice. So this is how a laptop should be designed. Simple and easy to work with. And screws don't come out so you don't lose them. So this is a heatsink for the SSD module. So when it sits like this, that's clever design. That's the fan, nice cooling. Wi-Fi chip, the RAM. Hey, while we're here, we might as well. Oh, let's see. What have they got here? So they've got a. Oh, interesting. So they've got 256 gig here, and I didn't see a disk drive come up on the in the computer. Is this actually a drive or is it just empty slot? Is there something in here? Very curious. Why don't we have a look? You know the saying, curiosity killed the cat. Actually, that is curiosity killed the cat, and something brought it back. Forget the name, but you can Google it. This is interesting. This is actually oh, it's just an enclosure. There's nothing in here, so you can actually have 2 hard drives in here. I'm not sure, maybe you can even do a RAID. So in this case, we could put a secondary hard drive, but it will just make things complex for the customer, because they have to remember where they save their files every time. So we're going to leave this option for future. Okay. Let's put this back in nice and hi, okay, let's fix that properly. So make sure that's in properly. Okay, we need to do this first. Okay. And the ribbon cable. Now normally I will disconnect the battery, but that will remove the BitLocker key that's in the RAM, so I don't want to risk doing that. You know what? I'm actually going to go get the recovery key, the BitLocker recovery key, just in case something goes wrong. Okay. We should be able to turn it back on as is. Okay, let's go into the computer and take a screenshot of the BitLocker key. Oh, it's currently turned off. Interesting. It did say it was on before. Probably Macrium turned it off. That's fantastic. Okay, so now let's shut it down. But I will, in the future, if there is BitLocker protection, I will actually take a copy of the recovery code just in case. So make sure power is off, and we're going to now replace the SSD. Cross fingers. Here we go. So I've got it rotated the other way around. This is the SSD. Now you got to be real careful, so better use a less dangerous tool. Smaller screwdriver. Nice. Now we get our new SSD, peel it off. Okay. Be very gentle with these. Alright, so before we put it all back together, all the screws, we'll just put the cover back on and do a quick test, see if it boots without any problems, and then we'll put all the screws back in. Okay, power on, so you can see the screen. Let's see what happens. Here we go, it's booting, that's nice. I usually give the old SSD back to the clients. It's still got their data. Nice, we're getting the login. And just check the free space now. Beautiful. That's looking good. Intel SSD. Now what I will normally do is check if there is a firmware update available for the SSD. At least if something goes wrong now, we can always reclone it again. So always advisable to check for SSD firmwares initially when possible. So I'm just going to Google Intel firmware SSD update tool. Now every manufacturer has their own. So Samsung has the Magician tool, Crucial have their programs, Kingston have their programs, so just check their website. Okay, so currently downloading the firmware update tool. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to utilize a USB. This is a temporary USB that I use for a few things. I'm going to plug it in. And I'm going to make it bootable. I'm going to burn the ISO to the USB. So I'm going to use Rufus to make the bootable USB. So just Google Rufus on Google. This is one of the great programs. There are a few alternatives out there. Okay, let's give it a go. At least you get to learn how to make a bootable USB now as well, using an ISO file. Okay, I ran it twice. Okay, there it is. Nope. Alright, so it found our USB. Now don't forget, anything on this USB is going to be wiped. And that's the ISO in my downloads. Open. Yep, great. And this is the part I mentioned before when you make bootable USB. If you got the option for UEFI, choose that so you can boot on a newer computer. Okay, here we go. Yes. Yep. Okay. And after this, you probably know what we're going to do. We're going to restart the computer and press the F12 key again. Now on some ThinkPads, you got to hold the function key and then F12, because the function keys get activated with the FN key pressed. Depends on your BIOS configuration. Looks like they are using a Linux variant. We'll find out. Done. Now we'll go and delete our downloads. So we're going to do a shutdown, and while the computer is turning on, press the F12 key. I'm holding the function as well, as I'm not sure if the function key is enabled or not. Oh, bummer. Looks like they missed it. Okay. Okay, let's go and do the usual method. Hold the shift key and restart. Go into recovery mode. A long process. Please wait. Troubleshoot. Advanced UEFI firmware settings, restart. Oh, here we go. Okay, done. F12. Now we're gonna boot off our USB. Let's see what happens. Didn't work. This is really annoying, you know. Okay, how about we go into, maybe there is no UEFI. Let's go into F2 and go into BIOS. Restart the computer, F2, function F2 or F2. Okay, start up. Okay, let's change. We need to turn off secure boot. Start up boot. Here we go. Both. Yes. Okay. F10. Yes. Now F12 again. Okay. You see, this means it uses a CSM boot, or it could be UEFI, but secure boot needs to be off. Here we go. That's running the Intel SSD update tool, and yeah, they are using a variant of Linux. Now this is a very high resolution screen, so everything looks small. Pressing enter to continue. Enter to continue. Okay, accept the license, yes. Okay. Okay, so that's good news. As you may be able to see, it says I've already got the latest firmware on this, so I don't really need to do anything. Great, at least we've checked, confirm that for the customer. Okay, enter to shut down. Okay, so power off. Now we want to revert those BIOS settings back. F2 again, function F2 or F2. Okay, bummer. Now we know the SSD installation went smooth. We can slowly close all these open areas and put the screws back on shortly. Alright, now I'm going to go back into BIOS again and revert the changes from I've disabled the secure boot. I'm going to revert that back. We don't need internet. Troubleshoot, advanced, UEFI firmware settings. Okay. Okay, fantastic. And that should be it on this model. Very nice laptop. This part does get very hot. Interesting. This is an i5 8th generation. It's got a AMD GPU. Yeah, we should be fine. Now let's go back in there and put all the screws back in. Make sure all the parts have clicked in nicely. No little gaps here and there. Okay. No loose screws, so it's just a matter of putting it all back in there. Nice. Okay, that's looking good. Just double check. Beautiful. This will be one happy customer. Thank you for watching.